Hello everyone, and welcome to my Worth Your Time series, where I break down new Steam games and demos to determine whether, in this attention-hungry economy, if games are worth your time in addition to just being worth your money. Today we're diving into Peng Pong, a top-down roguelite shooter with the gimmick of using a hockey stick to slapshot and ricochet projectiles that attack enemies for you. The demo is free on Steam right now, so if you decide that this is for you, I've included a link to the demo in the description. The first thing you'll likely notice about this game is the unique aesthetic, which likely takes inspiration from games like Cuphead, dazzling with its old-school cartoon theme. Peng Pong's dark casino setting specifically brings to mind the King Dice areas of Cuphead, meaning fans of this platformer and other classic animation styles will feel at home here. The animation is quite good, with cuteness imbued into all the different enemy types and environments, and especially the main character himself. I mean, look at that cute little guy. Gameplay-wise, Peng Pong is best described as a blend of other popular games in the roguelite genre that all had their own unique gimmick. The core gameplay is a closer match to a game like Brotato, where you attempt to survive increasingly difficult waves of enemies that chase you down and shoot projectiles at you, all inside a relatively confined one-room arena. The main difference here is that instead of solely focusing on shooting enemies directly, you need to rely on bounces of your hockey puck to do the majority of the damage after penetrating your original target. This gives the game an air of other bouncing games like Peggle or another roguelite cousin, Ballionaire. While I can definitely see this game as addicting for total diehards of the roguelite genre, I found the mechanics to be far too restrictive and oftentimes annoying. The flow state you would get into during a game like Vampire Survivors, feeling insanely powerful despite only using the directional buttons, is nowhere near found here. Instead, Peng Pong is actually mentally taxing, dividing player focus among moving, dashing, aiming, and shooting your projectiles, then having to retract them again. All this preventing the player from focusing on honing any one skill in particular. Instead, you're left swirling in a tornado of trying to do too many things at once. The requirement of making your character retract their projectiles before firing again is the absolute worst offender of this, being that there is no fun to be had in this mechanic at all, starkly contrasting the many games that favor just plain shooting, oftentimes with unlimited ammo, because it's the shooting that's the fun part, not the reloading. If having to retract your ammunition before each time you shoot wasn't annoying enough, you are also severely slowed down during this retraction, disincentivizing you from using the very mechanic that is the game's gimmick. Your character is left feeling absolutely powerless until their projectile stops moving, and you have finished the process of retracting it again. Compared with the sheer amount of visual and mental clutter that this game throws at you, where enemies get close to filling the entire screen, this character's sluggish movement is not a great fit. I compare it to trying to drive a tank in the Indy 500. Peng Pong will throw different enemy types at you, from stationary ones to projectile shooters to massive bosses, like this Meteor boss, which I suppose was the most fun and novel enemy type out of them all. Even with the upward progression potential, or God Run, synonymous with the similar game like Vampire Survivors or Risk of Rain, here the small rewards you get from upgrades did not feel worth the tedious attack mechanics. I quickly felt ill-prepared for the number of enemies, which made my death more frustrating instead of encouraging me to learn from my mistakes and get better. This is usually the case, even with difficult roguelikes. It's hard not to compare Peng Pong to other roguelikes, as at its heart it is really just a mishmash of different mechanics from other games that are done better than they are here. Every few enemy waves you'll have the chance to spend your loot on a storefront or gamble it away on a slot machine, which in itself is its own minigame with resemblance to the recently released Clover Pit, including the level up option to increase your chances of seeing certain icons so you can get better hits at the machine. While this works in Clover Pit, it feels out of place in a game where you're supposed to be leveling up your character for combat. Now, I can admit that despite trying the different customization options available and building different item combinations over a handful of runs, there could have been some critical piece of Peng Pong I was just missing out on. there seems to be a lot more available to unlock either in the demo itself or at a later date that could really spice up the game's potential with something bold or perhaps just less annoying. While this emptiness of options is certainly excusable for a demo, I think the mechanical flaws run deeper than can easily be remedied by just a few new customizations. At the release of this video, Peng Pong is slated for an August 2026 release, giving the development team the better part of a year to put the cute little penguin back in the oven. Oh. While I took aim at the novelty of the game's mechanics, and how what's actually new isn't all that fun, I can say that the demo so far did work very smoothly and the quality of the design was a pleasant relief. I can see the kooky presentation having a lot of potential for fun in the future, but not today. If anything, Peng Pong may beg the question as to whether the era of roguelite ingenuity has simply run its course and now we're starting to go back around again. Today, there are just too many better roguelike options for players, even if you're just revisiting an old favorite. So unless trying every roguelike imaginable is on your bucket list, or the beautiful animation style is enough to draw you in on its own, this demo is a skip for now with a 5 out of 10, until we see further development. Thanks again for watching, and if you like what you saw, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more under-the-radar video game previews. Until next time.